Welcome back to the farm, everyone. For some reason, and I can't quite put my finger on it, I've got a feeling that today is going to be a big day. See what bird that is? That's a bald eagle. There's actually two, but I scared the other one off. Maybe I misread the signs because we've got terrible drying weather right now. We're going to fuel things up, get everything ready to go, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get much cover other than what we already have worked. Jeff and I did notice there's like a slight hydraulic oil residue here on the front axle on this 9620. It looks like we may have a minor leak up there somewhere. It's just not really showing itself. We ran the hydraulics a little bit. Nothing has showcased itself. It does look like maybe that line right there, the bottom line that has that little clamp on it, could be farther onto the barb. It also has plenty of hydraulic oil in the reservoir. Definitely hydraulic oil though, you can kind of see the look of it. It was only running at an idle. I didn't see any oil leak out. Could be something where you don't see it till it's run high RPMs or the oil gets warm.
There's not too bad, is it, really?
The rain?
No, the shovel.
No. Chris and I just changed what seems like maybe 50% of the sweeps on this first field cultivator. It's amazing how fast those wear out. We've tried running the hard surface ones on this last one, and you can tell some of them right in there. Same size as just the regular John Deere sweeps. We're just trying to estimate or make a calculation of if they're worth the premium because they last longer. Those ones look fairly good still, but we will see. That's one of the hard parts about running a field cultivator, is calculating the cost of sweeps, you know, as you're depreciating, wearing them out through the field. And these things aren't cheap. I'm pretty sure these 7-inch knock-ons, non-extended wear, are knocking on probably 20 bucks. And if we just put 50 on, there's $1,000 of sweeps just to work 700, 800, 1,000 acres maybe. Depends on the field, soil types, whatever. That should get us close to home though with how much we have left, maybe. Jeff will have to climb under here and change a few that weren't just changed. But most of them have a good tip on them, should run for a long time. Get this one out of the way, back the other one out and unfold it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do it yet because we ran out of sweeps. Dad and Jeff ran into John Deere Alliance tractor to stock up on another 40 or 50 sweeps because we've gone through so many. It really doesn't help the cause that we've had to work some stuff twice, either because it was super weedy and it left clumps, or because we worked it early and then had to come back again because it rained on it a bunch and weeds were coming up to work it a second time. So it's just been a nightmare this season for tillage, for spraying, try to keep everything straight and do an effective job to raise a high yielding crop or maximize our yields given today's scenarios. Honestly, I don't have any room to be frustrated with the weather when you consider they were calling for 1 inch to 1.25 inches from that last rain event, and we only got 3/10, maybe like 29 hundredths or so. We should be thankful that it didn't rain as much as they said, because we actually have the prospect of planting today versus doing nothing. This is a pretty good angle to see. Obviously, the changed ones are freshly black painted. The ones that have been ran a little bit are worn out. And then if you look, the brand new one's got a pretty long tip on it. You come to the back here, that one's got some life left in it, but the tip is probably 3 or 4 inches worn back versus a new one. So it'll wear fast after that. One thing I've noticed though is that as long as the front couple rows are pretty stout, have a lot of metal left on them, the back ones don't need to be as big, because even though these are all spaced on, I think, 7.5 inches, the front ones do a lot of cutting and they crack it open more, so by the time it gets to the back, these ones almost kind of serve as a finishing tool, whereas these ones are doing a lot of the primary seed bed preparation. And then you've got Katie's field cultivator, which is draped in winter annuals. I don't know if that's henbit or chickweed, something. This one needs a ton of them. They were only going to pick up 40, but they might as well get more than that. You wouldn't want to run that one any longer. You can, but it's just going to break off eventually. If anything, this is another advocate for doing minimum tillage in the spring. You definitely would wear out your openers on your planter faster if you're no-tilling, but those probably need replaced every couple years anyways. Definitely something we're going to have to look at just from a logistics and a ground condition standpoint. Only took about 3 hours of waiting, but we're finally going to plant some beans. Dad's loaded his planter up already. He's down by where we're headed, planting some corn. We'll be side by side. And units of non-Mario 34E11 and 34 enlist bean. We're heading to the southwest, about our only dry area right now. It's not been great drying weather today. I was hoping to get some tillage done, maybe plant more than just one field of corn and beans. Mother Nature's not quite cooperating. Another day of pretty selective running. We ought to consider this a freebie since we're supposed to be rained out anyways. We're going to get 150 acres in the ground, corn and beans combined. Not a huge day, better than nothing. The boss man is already across the road putting the end rows on. Not exactly a lot of dust, which is not a vote of confidence for planting conditions. No, actually, there's a tiny bit of dust out there. So I've done a few rounds, and this is a lot wetter than it looks like. Not too happy with how it is. I got the planter loaded, so I'll probably go ahead and plant it. It's not horrible, but it's closer to horrible than it is to great, if that tells you anything. It was obviously worked a little bit on the heavy side, so it's cloddy. Not the end of the world. It's also kind of hard, which is surprising because we disc ripped it. Closing my trenches. You can see a little slotting where there's moisture. Not perfect. Not perfect at all. There's a bean right there out of the ground. Those are gonna need a rain, I think. I got the planter set pretty deep. I don't know why it's not cutting more than that. Those are hardly half an inch in the ground. It's almost like they're setting in mud. Of course, Dad's in soybean stubble. His field is definitely drier than ours. He asked if we could plant the next field that we scouted. It's still mud. It looks wetter than this, so there's no way we're going to the next one. No surprise, Dad's already done. He did get an earlier start and his ground was drier. He did claim he almost got stuck, but the planter looks pretty clean for that to be true. Took about an hour and a half to just wrap that up. Looks really good from the road. It did not look that good in the field. I think that is going to need a rain probably in the next few days and some heat to get those out of the ground. Maybe we can just close our eyes for a few weeks, get a nice shower or two, and those beans I just planted will look like that. Probably a little bit optimistic, I would say. Looks like Dad finished up his last field. Katie and Jeff have been out scouting. They said they've not found anything dry enough. We're gonna go check that other field of corn stalks we had work north of town. That's probably not dry either. Probably gonna have to wait. That one's not exactly dry. Would you look at that, ladies and gentlemen? There's the sun. Maybe we can get some sunshine this morning, dry the ground out, and actually accomplish something. What do you think of that idea, Murphy? Clark, think that's a good idea? The other two dogs are already distracted. Alright, I'm leaving, boss. Get out of the way so I don't squash you. This is a majestic time of day to go look at your crops. Wow, that corn looks good. I did my lap around the countryside. We're certainly making progress versus yesterday in terms of drying. Even our driest field that's already worked is going to need at least 3 hours of sunshine or so. We've got some kind of haze or fog. I think that's haze. I've heard something about the wildfires in Canada already roaring already, which is what it is. I feel bad for people losing any homes or land to fire, but man, is it an inconvenience down here. You can kind of see it off in the distance. Unless it's fog, but I think that's a haze. I'm gonna go pick up a load of chemical. I've got 70, 80 acres. I can probably spray first thing, and then I'll reevaluate once I get that sprayed off. Got my chemical. I'm driving back around because the field I want to spray is still a little bit wet. There are tractors moving in the countryside. It's just, there's a lot of fields that are too wet, others that are dry. It just depends on where you're at, the soil type, the rain the field got. I don't know. It's frustrating because it's going to shower this afternoon, but it's not supposed to rain a whole lot. We've got 2 tractors running right now, vertical till and a field cultivator south of town, south of Lakeland College, which is where most of our unplanted acres are, and also our wettest area right now. Caught more rain than everything else. Neither of them are making a speck of dust, if that tells you anything. Highlight. There's a tiny bit of dust for the tractor's running. The tillage is not making any dust. Doesn't look horrible out there.
Like everything else, it's got a normal wet place. It's like right there on the end. But it's really not tracking too bad, do you think?
Jeff decided on his own that the field cultivator probably shouldn't be running those corn stalks, so he shut down. Vertical till still working some weedy patches out on some light soybean stubble, light dirt soybean stubble, so it's pretty forgiving to tillage. To be honest with you, without sun out, even though we only got 2 to 3 tenths of rain 2 days ago, it's just not dry. 70 degrees, but we need the sun. The sun is the most crucial drying tool. We're kind of gambling right now on missing some rains or not getting a very large shower this afternoon when it rolls across. That way this weekend it's going to be warm, and then maybe we can knock the rest of our ground out in a more desirable fashion in terms of ground condition. No dust coming off of the tires of the sprayer either. Looks damp on top, like that field I planted yesterday, and I honestly regret planting that other field, but Dad and I both thought it was going to run better than it did. Unfortunately, we plant some of this stuff wet, and these rains miss like they have the last few times. It may put us in the opposite scenario where we're going to need a rain to finish off the germination of some of this stuff, and we actually have to replant because we plant wet and then don't get a rain. That doesn't exactly look great right there. Got that first field finished. Definitely too wet to even try to plant it today. I'm sure I'll be able to tell where I ran the sprayer when I plant it. We get emergence because even with these floaters, we get a little packing when it's wet. Loading the sprayer up right now to spray another small field with Syngenta's Tindovo herbicide. Tindovo is a combination of Dole, Metribuzin, and First Rate. Those 3 together give you multiple modes of action to help combat some of those tough herbicide-resistant weeds with a set of residual chemistries that is broad spectrum and control and should fight some of the toughest weeds, water hemp, giant ragweed especially, something to look at on your farm if you're looking to kind of change up your soybean residual program. It's also extremely crop safe, which is important because some residual programs on soybeans put a lot of herbicide pressure on the soybeans themselves, slowing them down early in the season, costing you money. Definitely a viable option if you're trying to change up the herbicide program. I went and sprayed it. You're just going to take my word for it because I forgot my camera here. And we got a nice drizzle coming down now because it's hardly dried at all in the last 2 days. That's definitely it for today. Maybe the sun will come out tomorrow. Looks like Jeff and Katie were both working south of the road of where Jeff was. Light dirt again, so you can open that stuff up and keep running on it. Unfortunately, they are about rained out. That rain amounted to virtually nothing, a couple hundredths. This evening we're actually getting a little bit of sunshine, some wind, and actually some drying on this stuff we worked. Unless we get a shower tonight, that's definitely a possibility, we may be able to do some more farming tomorrow. Another day of just brutally unhelpful drying weather. Thick fog this morning, gonna be cloudy all day, although in the upper 70s. I would have rather had a half to 3/4 of an inch of rain in 3 days of 70 and sunny than 3/10 of an inch of rain and 3 days of cloudy and foggy like this, because we're accomplishing almost no drying every day. They're wasted days at this point. We had the tiniest little window, 30 minutes or so this morning of sunshine, and that alone made a massive difference on some of this ground. Jeff is running a field cultivator south of Lakeland College. Dad's actually going to go run one too. Katie's working some weedier fields with the vertical till. We're gonna get some tillage done this morning, and then possibly with the heat today, even if the sunshine is spotty, we may be able to get a couple hundred acres planted, if God will allow that. I am gonna go do some spraying where Katie's working and then where we're going to get worked, because I think that stuff will all plant in a relatively short amount of time. I'm kind of in a bind here because our early corn needs sprayed, so I got to put the skinny tires on. I'd love to get as much sprayed with the floaters as possible before making that switch. That is a sight to be seen. Sunshine and heat, baby. We may get something done today. Our beans here don't look half bad either. They could probably use another shower. Forecast has been wrong this morning so far. More like partly cloudy, not cloudy all day. Sun's out, upper 70s right now, and boy is it humid. The unfortunate reality of that situation means there's a chance of rain, but we're not even going to worry about that. We're going to get done what we can. I'm going to go spray. There's Katie. Beep beep, coming through. Katie's chewing up weeds here. We'll have to come back around again and field cultivate this, but we're just getting the legwork done now. We've got another 17 acres to spray, and then I may be going to the bean planter. Dad is across the interstate there, planting corn, 90-acre field. One field cultivator's parked there about 1 mile south. Another one's running right south across the road from that. Making good progress today. The sun has been out way more than they were calling for, which has been a huge advantage for us. Ooh-wee, look at this stubble that they worked earlier this afternoon. Powdered it up. Be great until we get a 2-inch rain on it after we plant it. It's amazing how this light dirt just loves to be abused. You work it once, you work it twice, and it looks amazing. Would you look at that? That is actually making a dust. All you got to do is work the ground 5 times and it'll finally dry out. And it's not even really that dry. Some spots are a little wet. Boy, am I glad that they got the cloudy forecast wrong, and we've missed any showers that have popped up today. We're headed north to plant that field of beans we've been waiting on for the last few days. Gonna put those in. I'm gonna plant the Mattoon FFA plot while I'm up this way, and then we're gonna head down to where the field cultivators are, south of Mattoon. We're gonna be loading up some Pioneer 34 A98 enlist soybeans. I was hoping to get this field planted about a month ago because it's pretty high yielding, good dirt. Just Mother Nature hasn't let that happen. The real silver lining though is that because we're just a mile away from the seed dealership, Wes is bringing us these Pioneer beans, so we didn't even have to hook the seed tender up this go around. You gotta appreciate service like that. That's convenient. We may need them again later because we might have a couple hundred acres of beans to plant tonight. This is planted way nicer than the field the other day. I think the issue on this field and the other field isn't necessarily that it's too wet right now. It's more so that we worked it too wet and it didn't get much time to dry out on its own before it rained again. So it kind of sealed it back over wet, and it's given me a subpar seed bed. It'll do the job, but I wish it was a little better. It's gonna need a rain. Got our field done. That was pretty painless. Now, while I'm over here, I got some extra beans in the planter specifically to do my volunteering for the year and plant the Mattoon FFA farm plot, whatever. It's inconveniently placed right in the center of Mattoon, so I got to cut around by the school and do all sorts of things to get here, but we're going to no-till it. It's really hard to get field cultivators back here, let alone the DB60, and hopefully we get a good stand. Need spray, but that's not my department. Other than having a heck of a lot of weeds, especially troublesome ones, this no-tilling stuff's not half bad. This is some pretty wet, dark, productive soil. Mattoon was built on some phenomenal farm ground. All it needs is some drainage help. Playing pretty good. I guess we do have no-till filters and those spiked wheels. Might have to start doing this some more on our own acres. Heading south. Home sweet home in a roundabout way. Got a lot knocked out here corn-wise, and we're gonna get started on beans. Field cultivators there, Dad's on the other side of the road, loaded with corn. And I'm going to plant beans. And I should probably pay more attention to turning. You can see through the dusty window and the dusty dusty field there. There's Jeff and Katie working another 120 acres for me to plant. Don't know if I'll get to that tonight. If there was rain in the forecast tomorrow, I would, but it doesn't look like there is. And other than that big chunk over at Tower Hill, we're getting close to the end here of this sporadic planting season, at least the first time. Whoa! Maybe a little more. That's good. Get another side-by-side with the new Z-Series beans. Got the 35Z76, I believe, and the 34A98 we've been planting. Excited. You can definitely see the difference in seed size because these are both 45 units, but they don't look the same. So the 3/4, the older A-Series we're planting, are a much bigger bean. Allegedly, though, we've got the same units according to Wes's scales at Pioneer, and I trust him. Got a lot of acres around here to knock out. I'm on essentially a 140-acre field, one huge rectangle and then 2 smaller squares. Easy to farm. I've got the Z-Series trial I have to load back up after. Dad's to the south. This is a really productive 140 acres. Where Dad's planting corn is productive if it rains. This is a darker soil here, so it can get away with a little less rain. And we are off. It'll be interesting little side-by-side here. Stan and Bill have beans planted to our south. They got it worked in March and they just came in 3 or 4 days ago and planted right into it. We're planting into fall vertical tilled ground that just got field cultivated today. Assuming we're planting at similar depths, I wonder if the emergence will be similar in them. Definitely going to be a neat little side-by-side. We are going to be striping her up out here. Got 80 acres on the backside to plant. Another planter, other tractors in the area running. It's good to have progress, even if it's late. sun has set. Dad finished planting his field. I've almost got this back 80 done. I may or may not run out of seed, which I've got this seed tender here at the field if I need to top off. Some storms to our north running east, so I don't think they're going to be an issue for us, hopefully. Either way, I'm going to try to get this entire 130 done tonight and then call it quits. The only issue may or may not be if the moisture comes up to the point where the seed bed pretty much gets ruined until it dries off. I just barely ran out of seed there at the end. I had enough to effectively finish. There may be a row or two that is probably not there for like a couple feet, not a big deal. I crossed the other side, and as much as I want to keep going with storms to the north, this is pretty wet. I think sunshine would do this some good before I planted it. You can see just a little bit speckling of dry dirt. The rest is just moist. Needs to dry out a little bit on top before I try to plant it. So I may actually just shut down for the night. Like I said, I'd love to keep going. I think the forecast looks pretty clear for us. I say that it's going to end up raining tonight. But I'm afraid if I plant this, it's just not going to seal very good. Yeah. Look at that. Mud. It's probably too wet to work, really, but we did it. I think we're stopping for the night. I did that and it'll end up raining, but it is what it is. Nate, I think I'm gonna wait till the morning so this will dry off. If you want to pull that seed tender down here and pick me up, and then we can just turn around and take it in. There's a lot weighing on my mind about this. Could I plant it? Yes. Should I? No. Unless I know it's gonna rain tonight. It's not supposed to rain, but there are some storms popping up around, so it could rain. The issue becomes deciding when it's worth putting it in the mud and when it's worth waiting. If we get the sunshine and heat tomorrow they're calling for, this will look beautiful after I get my spraying done. If it rains, I'm gonna be so upset with myself. Other thing kind of weighing for me not to do it is that my planter is essentially empty right now. So if I did get rained out, it'd give me a lot of flexibility for not having to dump the tanks if I need to go to a different bean. I was ready to finish the night though. I had the beans on the tender. The guard dogs are happy to see me. Guess we'll see what happens overnight. It was supposed to be cloudy all day and it was sunny. There's no chance of rain tonight. Knowing what I just said, that means it could in fact rain. Okay, I'm gonna end this episode here, everyone. I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. Catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!